We got into the car after dinner, and my husband looks at me and says, "I don't understand what happened in there. Why does everyone think I'm getting amazing BJs from you?" Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a very entertaining story that you guys are certainly going to enjoy, titled, "How Do I Explain This to My Husband Without Hurting Him?" And guys, this story is written by a woman. She and her husband are in their late 30s. They have been married for like 10 years. They have a couple kids. And according to her, they had this great marriage, great amazing marriage. He's this amazing husband, and he's strong and good for the kids, good for the family, the whole 9 yards. The only thing is, as you're going to find out, they're not exactly very adventurous in the bedroom. Let's just say, in particular, she claimed, and she has always led him to believe, that she doesn't like going down south on a guy. Well, as you're going to see, one night, they're at a party, and there's a lot of drinking involved, and a lot of friends from high school and college are there. And let's just say when the drinks start absorbing, some people start talking about her back in the day, and it gets out that she is quite the opposite of what she is right now with her husband. And her husband doesn't take it too well. And we go from there. And now she's wondering, what do I do? What do I say? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm doing this as an example, because I've done videos just like this before, where for a lot of guys, they'll get to their mid-20s, late 20s, and they'll settle down. They will maybe not get a whole lot of attention from the gals when they're younger, high school, college, and then all of a sudden, when they have resources and they're beginning their careers, all of a sudden the girls that wouldn't give them the time of day, all of a sudden are into them, and they want to settle and get married and all that. And these same guys get the bare minimum in the bedroom. And some accept it as it is, and some are happy about it. And a lot of them find out that back in the day, their wife, when she was younger, high school and college, was as wild as can be. They can't figure out what it is. Why aren't they into them? Why don't they want to do all the freaky stuff with them? Or just what's considered to be common nowadays. Because at the end of the day, the gals settle. When it comes to a guy that a woman is really attracted to, and she really wants his validation, the sky's the limit. And many of you guys watching this know this. Trust me. The sky's the freaking limit if they see you as a prize. But if they don't see you as a prize and they're settling for you because it's like, well, I'm almost 30, got to get married, don't want to be a spinster, I'll choose that nice guy over there, he's getting the bare minimum. So those guys that think that they won because they got that pretty girl after all those years when the girls wouldn't pay attention to them, no, you didn't. She's not going to look at you the same, she's not going to treat you the same, and most certainly she's not going to fuck you the same. So, that being said, I'm going to get into this, and you're going to see how she really gets caught in a bad situation here. Starts off, she says, "Hey, Reddit community, I'm looking for some advice for a situation I've gotten myself into regarding my husband. This is a throwaway account because my husband is a Reddit user. I understand my situation is 100% my fault, and I have no idea what to do about it." So, she knows already her husband goes on Reddit, and yet she's going to do this anyway? Okay. And by the way, guys, there are some elements of the story that seem a little too crazy to be true, but I've been doing this long enough and lived long enough to know that truth is stranger than fiction, so I'll let you guys decide that. As a quick history, I went to high school with my husband, but I never really hung out with him. We were in different friend groups when I was a year younger. Translation, I was with the cool crowd, and he was with the dorks. And therefore we didn't hang out. About 6 years after high school, we reconnected and started dating. Translation, after high school and college, when she had, sowed her wild oats, if you will, or as we call, rode the carousel, then she was looking for the nice guy to settle down with. Ding, ding, ding. 3 years after we started dating, we were married. I've never been happier in my entire life. My husband is a caring and strong man that always does right by our kids and I. We are now in our upper 30s. Well, the way she's describing it now, you'd think that she would be a freak in the sack. She'd give him whatever he wanted because he's such a great guy. Wrong. Here's the problem. When my husband and I were dating, he asked me about a year into it why I never participate in oral. It wasn't in a mean or accusing way, more just curious. I told him that I really didn't care for it and only did it 1 or 2 times when I was younger. Let's remember this, 1 or 2 times. Guys, if your girl isn't doing that, nowadays in 2022 when, let's be honest, the gals are more, well, you know how they are today. If your girl isn't doing that, move on. After what I'm sure you guys are putting into the relationship, at the very least, you ought to get that. And if you're not getting that and she says that I don't do that, I don't like that, well, fine, that's her business, but that means you got to stay. I told him I didn't really care for it, I only did 1 or 2 times. My husband was understanding, told me that it's perfectly fine, it's not an issue. He was just curious. Unfortunately, I made a mistake and I lied. See, he's a total nice guy. He said this did this conversation when they were dating. So they weren't married yet. So, typical nice guy response, that's okay, no problem there. He's probably just happy to get her. Think about it. A guy that's a prize and has lots of options with women, has had a lot of experience with women, do you think he's going to settle for a gal and keep dating her that isn't going to do that? Think about that. Nice guy central. And guy didn't get a lot of girls. 2 days ago, we were at a dinner with a bunch of our high school friends, some that I'm still close with. Define close. We were all a bit tipsy when our friends started talking about who they were intimate with in high school. Well, that's totally inappropriate if they're going to talk about this dude's wife. Then my friend stated, hey, let's hear about yours. Then one of my friends from school stated that I, the wife, gave the best BJs he ever had and then told my husband that he was a very lucky man. You telling me that some dude at the party said that back in the day, your wife used to suck my you-know-what, and this guy didn't come up and punch his lights out? I know there are guys that are assholes, and people do a lot of shit things when they're drinking, but seriously? My husband looked shocked. I was horrified because I just realized that my husband was just told that I give great head. And people at the table experienced it. This man who has been selfless, loving, caring, loyal, and everything else these men were not, had never experienced that with me at all, even though he wanted to. He never made an issue of it, and he never shamed me, he just accepted me. Translation, he was so happy this girl, who was not in his gang in high school, not in his group, was paying attention to him and dating him, he'll take whatever he can get. That's what a lot of these guys do. And again, notice the selfless, loyal, caring, loving, all that shit. That doesn't matter to her. Bare minimum, that's what these guys get. Right here, perfect example. We got into the car after dinner and my husband looks at me and says, I don't understand what happened in there. Why does everyone think I'm getting amazing BJs from you? I didn't know what to say. He was silent for about 10 minutes and then said, you don't owe me an explanation, but if you want to give me one, it would go a long way with me understanding why everyone else thinks you're performing oral on me when you never have. That's when I said it. I told him that what I said was not true about the BJs and that I had given him one to every man I have slept with except him. That is a dagger to this guy's heart. Think about this. You have this wife that you're in love with and you're amazing to and great with, and you find out that the things that you want to experience in the bedroom, she won't do it with you, but every other guy in high school, in college, or whatever, got that treatment. What does that say? That destroys a man. And it'd be the same as if a gal found out that her husband, who's never romantic at all with her, no romantic gestures and any of that crap, was the most romantic guy in the world to all his previous girlfriends. That would be a dagger to her heart. He said, so for our whole marriage, you've led me to believe that you were not into oral, which I accepted without hesitation. How am I supposed to feel about the fact that my wife has given oral to every man she dated or slept with and lied about it? I told him I was sorry, and I was sobbing. Of course she was crying. And said, I want to give you one. I want to give you one when we get home. I was hysterical. He looked at me and told me, I don't want a BJ from you like this. This isn't intimacy. I have no idea why you think giving me a BJ right now would heal the situation. We have not talked since. He is at work and I don't know what to do. Please help. How do I repair this? I don't know why I don't enjoy BJs anymore, and I have definitely hurt my husband. Help, please. So let's just say, for argument's sake, she actually doesn't get why she doesn't want to give him to him. Let's just say, for argument's sake. Okay, well, I will fill her in on this. He's not the guy that you wanted his attention, validation. He was the guy you settled for. Duh. It's not rocket science. The guys that you were hot for when you were younger, because notice she said after 6 years of high school, they reconnected. Okay? What was she doing those 6 years after high school? We can all guess there. That was college years. That was, graduating college and starting to work, early 20s. That's when she was in her prime. Hooking up with Chad and Tyrone, the bad boys and all that. Meanwhile, he was establishing himself, starting off in his career, getting resources. This is what I'm assuming. And when she was done the carousel, wanted to find the nice guy. And settled for him, end of story. And it was like, okay, got my nice guy. He thinks he got a prize. I don't have to do a damn thing. And it isn't just as simple as that. It's that she didn't want to. Unless this dude is like morbidly obese and maybe he hasn't groomed down there ever and he smells like a freaking anchovies down there or something. Obviously, if he's in decent enough shape and she's attracted to him, she'll want to do that. Since she did all that to, well, plenty of other dudes back then. So I'm assuming it's not his looks. I'm assuming he's not morbidly obese. She's just not attracted to him that way, and she doesn't have to, whether she realizes it or not. So in his situation, he's going to have to look at the big picture here. Do I want to be married to a gal that, A, lied to me about this, obviously settled and all that? But he's been with her for 10 years. He has kids with her. He's in a tough situation. But I can tell you one thing, that I think at this point, he's now in a position he's not in a position to get whatever the hell he wants, because now she's probably realizing, oh shit, I could lose this guy. And all of a sudden, boom. But then again, he doesn't want her to do it like out of pity or anything like that. He wants her to be attracted to him. That's what he wants. And you can't blame him. And again, if the situation was reversed and she found out that if situation was reversed, and let's just say the equivalent to making a woman this crazy would be that she wanted him to be romantic, and he would never do romantic things, and found out back in the day, before her, he was the most romantic dude in the country. That'd be a dagger to her heart. So they got a lot to work on here. And the lesson for, again, you relationship guys out there, and particularly you young guys out there that never got paid attention to by pretty girls when you were younger, and all of a sudden they're noticing you because you now are on your career, got some resources, you are beginning your prime, let's be honest, in your 30s, be careful. Be careful because of that pretty girl that wouldn't give you the time of day and is going to settle, and you think you got a prize. You're going to get the bare minimum. She may give you a bunch up front, but once that ring's on her finger, bye-bye. Now, real quick, I'll read a few comments here. They're good ones. One guy says here, you had dinner with someone you dated and they bragged to your husband about getting head from you. What the F is wrong with either of you? They need to shut the F up and need to pick your friends better. And he says, I just want to add that whether or not you are giving your husband BJs really doesn't matter whatsoever. The only thing that matters is you taking him to dinner where he sits down and listens to other men tell stories of you sucking them off. That's wild. Anyway, I don't know how he didn't freaking cold cock some of those guys. But obviously, these guys are assholes. Obviously, these guys were the bad boys in high school that she hung out with. That's what I connected the dots on. She was a part of the in crowd, and he was probably with the marching band. No offense to you guys in the marching band. Another guy says here, people at the table experienced it. Are you implying that more than one dude at the table had BJs from you? Not just the one bragging to your husband about the great head you gave him. This makes me think of the movie Clerks. For those of you who saw the movie Clerks, the first one from like almost 30 years ago, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm 37. Another comment, this guy says, this seems like a really selfish move on your part. You've given so many BJs and perfected your routine with lots of other men that you burnt out and can't even perform oral on your husband. So all the past dudes get the goods and your sweet, understanding, obviously, husband gets shit. Definitely selfish. I'd be pissed as hell and really rethink the relationship. I bet you the thing that's bothering the husband the most is less about him getting the physical action, but just that she didn't see him that way as wanting to do that. That's what's bugging the husband. And one more guy says, so you married him because he was the best bet at a good, loving, providing partner. There you go. But he just doesn't do it for you sexually. All the others who never did anything for you turn you on more so they get the more wild you in bed. While your husband, who has pledged his life to you, gets vanilla. should be the opposite. In a perfect world, the other guys wouldn't barely get anything, and the husband would get everything. But in reality, it's the exact opposite. No matter what the reason you don't like doing that for your husband, what I wrote above is what it really is. Yeah, you may wind up divorced over this. And last, this guy says, so you lied to your husband and refused to give him something he continuously asked for and that you gave to others who didn't really give a crap about you. I cannot tell you how badly you screwed up here, my dear, and how much you hurt his pride as a man. And especially after everything he's done for you as well. Right. I would say your only bet is to provide marriage counseling and throw yourself at his mercy, but from a man's perspective, you may have already been too late since you didn't tell him the truth, and he found out that all the other guys you've been with received something he asked for and was denied. Yeah, she's in trouble. Unless she is really good at putting on the show and is about to give this guy the most wild fantasy he's ever had, and even then, he may not want it because he knows it's bullshit. Who knows? I'll pay attention to see if there's any updates to this particular story. But this story is not unique. If you guys have watched me long enough, I've done stories similar to this on both this channel and the other. A lot of ones were either dealing with this particular subject, the BJs, or the other one is finds out that his wife, the wives, these guys found out that their wives back in college and high school not only were wild carousel riders, have like crazy numbers, like hundreds of dudes, or were doing actions, getting some caboose or backdoor action. That's another one that comes up a lot. But common theme. So young guys out there, watch out. Watch out for those girls that are going to settle for you and you think you got a good deal. Be very careful on who you choose to have future relationships with or take it further if that's what you do. Because you may find out you could be just like this guy, getting either nothing or the most bare minimum. And then you find out about her past. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, if you got a good story to share or you found something good you want me to cover, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just make sure you include the link. Half the time, guys forget to include the link, and I can't do anything about it. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.